Eulogy to my father. Dear mourners, dear friends, dear family. We have gathered here today to say goodbye to a special person. In the end, death came as a friend. Perhaps some of you still remember the Schnerb, a friend of my father's who always showed up unexpectedly at the door, totally unannounced, without warning. But always welcome, nonetheless. Death came to my father in the same way, unexpectedly, but ultimately as a release from his suffering. My father was what you call a great guy. There was his great love for animals. His late dog Cesar and also my Monty adored him. My brother Ralph and I always called him Dr. Doolittle because animals were always drawn to him, because he always had a heart for the weak. One day he moved a concrete block in our old garden. As a result, a hedgehog mom died in it because she couldn't get out. My father then spent days walking through all the gardens in the neighborhood to find and rescue her babies. That was my father, a man who took responsibility and cared for those who needed his help. My father was not a rich man, he was not a famous man, but he was a man a daughter and a son could be proud of. He worked until old age, and to this day there are people who have a rounded arch in their apartments that he built for them 41 years ago. These arches are still standing, a testament to his craftsmanship and his pride in his good work. My father embodied what we would probably call German virtues today: diligence, perseverance, and tireless dedication. He was a role model for his children, for whom he did everything. For years, he worked grueling shifts on construction sites throughout Germany, putting up walls, but still had time for us on the weekends, even though I know today how tired he must have been. Our shared ritual, when he came home, the whole family would get in the bathtub together. The first word of my brother was Papa. My father came as a young man from Magdeburg in East Germany to Esslingen, so before the wall fell, to the west. Why Esslingen of all places? Because his father had once told him about this beautiful city and he never forgot it. Like his father before him, my father was a worker. He was a big fan of Willy Brandt. He was really very proud to be a worker. As a works counselor, he stood up not only for himself, but also for his colleagues. He was proud of his belonging to the working class and was never ashamed of his origins. My father loved the sun. He was always cold no matter what the outside temperature was, a remnant from his time as a furnace mason in a glowing hot foundry. That was my father's life, a life full of the hardest work, which only ended for him at age 80. His last job as a mail carrier helped him find a kind of structure after my mother's death. Work was support and identity for him. But the most important thing in his life was his Nätchen, my late mom. After her death, 5 years ago, he could no longer make sense of the world because she had shielded him from everyday life and problems. They were a well-coordinated team, and without her, he was lost. As a daughter, I can say that I am proud of my father, of his diligence, his kindness, his big heart, and his unwavering commitment to others. The illness of recent times changed him, but it could not destroy what he really was: a good person, a loving father, and a loyal friend. Now he is free from his suffering and reunited with his Nätchen. He will live on in our hearts as the great guy he always was, and his arches will stand long after us as a testimony to a life that touched and shaped others. Let's not bury Horst Brage here, but let us remember Gipser Hörschtle as he was long ago. Rest in peace, Papa.